The story begins at 30,000 feet in the air. A passenger plane is slicing through the clouds, cruising along like any normal flight. But one of the passengers, Jack, is sitting there with the weight of the world on his shoulders. He's been crushed by poverty for so long that he's made a decision no one should ever have to make. He's going to end his life mid-flight so that his family can collect the insurance money after he's gone. But before any of that can happen, nature has other plans. Out of nowhere, the sky turns angry. Black storm clouds swallow the plane from every direction. And then, boom, a bolt of lightning strikes the engine dead on. The plane doesn't just go down, it snaps in half, right there in midair. The front section goes spinning off and crashes onto what looks like a remote, mysterious island in the middle of nowhere. Nobody on board had any idea their lives were about to take such a horrifying turn. Now, buried in the wreckage, the captain, beaten up pretty badly from the impact, slowly regains consciousness. He immediately radios the pilot and tells him to send out a distress signal. The pilot wastes no time. He starts digging through the debris, searching for the radio. But as he's looking around, he feels something near his feet, like something is being dragged across the floor. He looks down, and his heart just stops, because lying there on the ground is the freshly shed skin of an absolutely massive snake. And scattered all around it, enormous broken eggshells. Before he can even process what he's seeing, the jungle ahead starts shaking, trees swaying like something enormous is pushing through them. And then, out of the darkness, a gigantic snake emerges, staring him down. Its eggs are broken. It is furious, and the pilot doesn't even get a chance to react before that snake opens wide and swallows him whole. Meanwhile, the rear section of the plane has also crashed on the same island. And against all odds, Jack and a handful of other passengers survive the impact. When they crawl out of the wreckage, the hair on the back of their necks stands straight up, because this is no ordinary island. The trees, the plants, everything here is wrong, twisted, alive in a way that feels deeply unnatural. As soon as the survivors come into view, the vegetation starts moving toward them, like it knows they're there. Nobody knows what to make of it, but they know they have to get out. During the chaos, Jack spots a girl frantically trying to pull her friend free from the wreckage. A massive chunk of metal is about to come crashing down right on top of them. Jack sprints over and yanks them out of the way just in time. The group tries to call for help, looking for any kind of signal to reach a rescue team. Nothing. Dead silence from the outside world, not a single bar. And that's when the real fear sets in. They start to wonder if they're ever making it off this island alive. Then a man named Tim steps up. He tells everyone plainly, if they stay where they are, those plants will kill them. They need to find the front section of the plane because it has the radio. The only way to contact a rescue team. It's their one shot. But just as Tim finishes his little speech and reaches down to grab a piece of fruit off the ground, the fruit explodes. Like a grenade. Toxic acid sprays straight into Tim's face. He drops. He's gone, just like that. The survivors are absolutely shaken. But another man steps up and points to something in the distance. A mountain. There's smoke rising from it. He figures the front section of the plane must have gone down somewhere near there. That's where they need to go. He takes one step forward, and a monstrous carnivorous plant reaches out and swallows him, alive. They can literally hear his bones crunching inside it. And that's all it takes. Pure panic. Everyone starts running in every direction, but the plants are everywhere. And one by one, people are getting pulled in and devoured. In the chaos, Jack trips and falls. And right there on the ground in front of him is his life insurance paperwork. With death staring him in the face anyway, he figures, why fight it? He walks straight toward one of the plants and just stands there, ready to let it take him. The plant is literally about to swallow him whole, when a young guy leaps in and tackles Jack out of the way. The remaining survivors push through and finally reach a stream. One of the men wants to go back into the jungle to save the others still trapped. But nobody's going back in there. They've seen what those plants do. Instead, they lock eyes on that mountain with the smoke and make a beeline for it. They're climbing through rocks, pushing forward, not realizing that something enormous has been watching their every single move. Then, from the back of the group, two men hear a slithering sound. One of them turns around, and something snatches him instantly. Gone. His buddy runs to the front of the group screaming about what just happened, but nobody believes him. Another man says he knows where the missing guy went, and before he can finish the sentence, the same creature grabs him too and swallows him whole. That's when it reveals itself. A colossal lizard, like nothing any of them have ever seen. And there isn't just one of them. There's a whole pack. The survivors run, but the lizards are everywhere now. This is their territory. One of the creatures lunges at a woman, dragging her backward. Jack grabs her and pulls her free just in time. But then the lizard turns on Jack, pinning him down, and then a second one joins in. Two of these monsters are trying to swallow him simultaneously. That's when a heavyset man in the group takes a flying leap and lands right on top of Jack. somehow, impossibly, knocking the lizards back long enough for everyone to scramble away. They push through the rocky terrain and end up crashing into a massive field of tall grass. In the panic, they completely lose each other in the thick of it. Everyone's yelling, but the grass is so tall nobody can see a thing. Then someone has a quick idea. On the count of 3, everyone jumps as high as they can. It works. They spot each other in midair and regroup. But just when they think they've caught a break, here comes something even worse. Not a lizard this time, a massive snake. The heavyset man hears it first, that unmistakable hiss and rustle. The snake circles them slowly, tightening its invisible net. Then it strikes, snatching one of the men, coiling around him so tight he can't move a muscle, and devours him on the spot. Everyone runs again. They find a small cave and pile in. It's pitch black inside, and an older man tries to start a fire by banging 2 rocks together. It's not working. He notices the locket hanging around Jack's neck and asks to borrow it. After rubbing it against the stones, sparks finally fly, and they have fire. The survivors huddle together, feeding off each other's warmth and what little courage they have left. They all know they can't survive another night like this. Plan. At first light, they run, but then a sound from outside the cave. 3 people creep out to check, and off in the distance they see a glowing light. They think it's the rescue team. They head straight for it. The light vanishes the second they get close, and out of the darkness steps something nightmarish. A colossal monster frog. The glow on its back? That was a lure, like a deep-sea anglerfish, but somehow 1,000 times worse. It had been using its own light like bait, drawing them in. Jack and another survivor named Romy duck behind a rock just in time. But the third man, the one who'd been clutching a suitcase this entire time like his life depended on it, isn't so lucky. The suitcase gets pinned under the creature. He fights with everything he has to yank it free, and he gets it loose. But the moment he does, the frog sees him. It clamps its jaws around him, and in the struggle the suitcase hits the ground and springs open. Inside, his daughter's ashes. That's what he'd been protecting this whole time. The last physical piece of his little girl. He watches her remains scatter into the wind, and in that single devastating moment, he breaks. Then the creature kills him without mercy. Now it turns its attention to the rock where Jack and Romy are hiding. It starts forcing itself inside, but the opening is too narrow. So instead, it starts climbing on top. And then we see a large eye watching all of them. Subscribe to see the part 2, okay?